Wow. I love that song, The Spark of Creation. And it comes from a musical, of course, a nod to Dr. James. It was a 1991 musical, The Children of Eden. And it just describes for me, the words resonate so much to me about this whole creative process, that inner spark, the divine guidance that each of us has. It resonates so much. I want to share with you some of the stanzas of this song that Luke so brilliantly sang. I got an itching on the tips of my fingers. I got a burning in the back of my brain. I got a hunger that's burning inside me, cannot be denied. Oh, do you ever get that burning desire to do something or to feel it? You know, I do. I usually get it in one of three ways. One, when I am around someone or I see someone who is so inspirational. I'm like, oh, I want what they're having, or I want to try that, or should I learn about that? But I feel that inspiration. The second way for me is when I'm out in nature and I'm immersed in the colors and the beauty of the world. When I'm outside, whether in the garden or on a trail, my mind just explodes with ideas. What is it that I'm going to do next? And then thirdly, inspiration is when I see or I witness or I observe someone doing an exceptionally amazing act of kindness for someone in the world. That inspires me. And you know, this inspiration, or what we're calling this month Brilliant, that inner light, what's so exciting is that, you know, what excites me may not excite you, Tiffany, right? Or what excites you, Corrine, may not float my boat at all because of your boat. But what is great about that, you know, just what we feel inside, that desire, however it affects you, you want to do more or you want to be more in that moment, right? Now, in full transparency, I don't always ignite that spark or let it go longer. You know, it just depends upon where I'm at, what I'm doing, how many other sparks I've got glowing at the moment. But the idea is that it's there. The next stanza of this song is, I've got a feeling that the Father who made us, when he was kindling a pulse in my veins, he left a tiny spark of that fire smoldering inside. And that represents, I really believe, that gift that we were given at birth with our very first heartbeat. It's there. It's always been there. It's very subtle. And the smoldering part means that it's enduring. It's always there and can be and is activated all the time. So this spark is very personal. And I just know for me, when I'm inspired, those creative juices start flowing, and I just want to learn more. I want to try it. I want to do what it is mine to do. Because this internal spark that we talk about, the divine presence within us, is untethered and unstoppable. Always at work and there for each and every one of us. The next stanza is, I see a mountain and I want to climb it. I see a river and I want to leave shore. Where there was nothing, let there be something, something made by me. You know, that mountain, that represents a goal or a challenge. It just represents that, although sometimes I take it literally and really want to climb it. But climbing it is like knowing there's obstacles, but want to put yourself out there and try it and figure it out. I see a river. Well, that's the actual adventure, the journey. And I want to let go of the shore. That is really just diving right in, letting go, surrendering, and trusting that that water, that river is going to take us and guide us to our destination. And it's something made by me. That's that whole creative process, taking something from nothing to its creation. You know, that process of creation and just leaning into the light, isn't that what we all experience? I mean, Dr. James is doing that right now. He's birthing his production of The Bells Are Swinging. And Karen Wright, isn't that what you did when you co-founded the Greater Contribution? And to all the students in here that have received certificates or degrees, there was something in you that you desired to move forward with. And oh my gosh, the Olympians. I can't wait to hear all the stories of the Sparks and their beginnings to where they are now. You know, I have a couple slides. Ernest Holmes says, life is a mirror, and it will reflect back to the thinker what he thinks into it. You know, those moments in life when you want to do it, but you don't even know where to begin. Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind, right? Similar to what Ernest Holmes is saying. My moment was about 5 or 6 years ago. It was about the time when Dr. James came to the center as our spiritual director, and he was doing one of his Sunday talks, and he had a slide that he put up. It had a quote on it, and I tried to find it, but I couldn't. But this is a picture of what I saw. I was sitting right where you are, and I saw the magnificence of nature. And it stirred me. I can remember to this day. It stirred me. I didn't know where it was, but I wanted to find out. I wanted to see it. There's a phrase that says, actually it's part of a song by the Gorillas. It says, see with your mind, not with your eyes. Well, that morning I did see that picture with my mind and with my eyes, but it burned in my mind. I really wanted to see it. I later learned that that place was in Norway, pretty far, but it was in Norway, and that rock formation is called Trolltunga. And it gets its name from a folklore legend that says that a troll stuck out his tongue mocking the sun, and the sun instantly turned him into petrified stone. And so it's called the Troll's Tongue. It's about 2,200 feet above this river. It takes 18 miles to get to the top. A lot of it is mostly snowy terrain, mountainous terrain, but it's on this vertical cliff of a mountain. Again, begin with the end in mind. I wasn't quite sure what to do. But I wanted to see and figure that I really wanted to see it. And as that spark continued to smolder within me, we were met with a few obstacles over the year. And first we had booked tickets, and then we had to cancel our tickets because unfortunately Brad's father passed away. And then we wanted to go again, and then COVID hit, which put the brakes on all travel. But still that pursuit of the Troll's Tongue existed. Raymond Charles Barker said, there's a power in me acting through me and acting for me, which causes me to accomplish what I want. And in this teaching, we believe that there is this one creative power, that divine essence. And I'm very comfortable calling that one power God. And God's energy and love moves in, through, and all around me 24/7. always providing, always healing, always loving, and always guiding. Rumi says that light that shines you, that guides you, shines from within. And I leaned into that. And I can tell you that Brad and I didn't know what to do, but we found out we didn't have to do 18 miles in one day. We could hire a guide, and a guide would take us up 10 miles. We could stay all night in only one of 3 geodomes, and then come back 8 miles the next day. Okay. So we kept looking at it, and all these pictures that I'm showing you is what we took on our vacation. And I'm really pleased to tell you, I only got to see it, I got to stand on it. And it is just as amazing as that picture. It was just beautiful. And the purpose, and here's a picture of us. This is where we stayed in this little geodome with 3 other people that hung right to the edge of this cliff, overlooking nature. Everywhere I looked in Norway was absolutely beautiful. Just beautiful. And you've heard me say, this is one of my favorite quotes from Emerson, nature wears the colors of a spirit. And you see that. And I'm here to tell you, when I was there, nature was in full bloom. Everything was so colorful. And not only nature being in full bloom, but the energy of love. Every Sunday we come and we learn love only. Well, when I was in Norway, every day, I was reminded of love only. It's very significant in Norway, the heart. You see hearts everywhere. You see hearts on people's doorways. You see them on businesses. Yes, that's Brad peeking through the bakery window. You see them on churches, on steeples. This is a constant reminder for me in Norway of the power of love. You'll even see the heart on an outhouse. There was only one outhouse on the top of Trotunga, and there it was. And our guide encouraged us to look at all the beauty while we were sitting there doing our duty, so that we could experience it all. And when I asked the guide about the heart, he said, well, it symbolizes love. And then with a wink, he said, or it could be an upside down rear end. He said, you choose. I said, I choose love. Now, I didn't tell you this story necessarily to tell you about our trip, but it was very, very cool. But I wanted to set the stage to tell you about a person that we met whose inner light, whose brilliance really had an effect on me. Which brings me to my talk title slide, The Spark of Brilliance. The evening before our guided hike, we and 13 others gathered in this reception area at the hotel where we were staying. And we met a man. He was probably in his 50s. He was humble and kind of quiet, but very informative. He was not our guide, he told us. He was just there to prepare us for the next 2 days' trek. His name was Jolstein. And that's all I knew until the next day when we were out on the trail hiking. We learned from the other guide about who Jolstein was. He had purchased the hotel where we were staying in 2006. That's about 20 years ago. He purchased it when everyone in the town was called Oda, told him, don't buy this hotel. Nobody's going to stay here, because the town of Oda was known as the most ugly town in the country of Norway. But he purchased it, and sure enough, the people were right. In 2 years, he was almost broke. You see, this town was full of industrial plants. from the past 100 years. It was all industrial. So the story goes that he was out on the trail hiking. He loved the area. He loved to hike. But it was on the trail that his spark of brilliance ignited. And what was his to do was to lead guided hikes to this magnificent place. The Trolltunga was undiscovered, very local secret at the time. Only about 1,000 people a year would hike there. But in the 14 years that he fueled his passion into his dream, now 80,000 people a year travel, and he's very conscious in the sustainable and the eco practices of the region. I don't know that, I never met Jostine after that, but I don't think he probably ever knew when he bought that hotel how his light would shine and affect so many global travelers from around the world. Do we ever really know when we start with that spark inside us? Karen Wright, did you know 18 years ago that the greater contribution would fund today over 30,000 microloans to women in Uganda, the poorest country in the world? That's your spark. And I don't think Dr. Jane Goodall ever knew what her humanitarian light and brilliance would afford our world. A fun fact, at the age of 26, she was invited to be a secretary for Dr. Louis Leakey. And a year later, he invited her to go to Africa, to the Gombe Stream Reserve to study chimpanzees. And Dr. Goodall rocked the scientific community with her discovery that chimpanzees actually use tools to eat similar to mankind by taking twigs, putting it into an anthill, out with all the ants and eating it. That had never been discovered or done before. That rocked the world. A little shameless plug here. If you want to read more about Dr. Jane Goodall and some inspirational stories, my book is coming out in the fall, and you can sign up outside in the foyer after service to be among the first to know of its release. Okay, back to Brilliance. Emerson says, oh, no. I don't know what happened. It's gone, Thor. You got it? Nope. I want the Emerson quote. There we go. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. Emerson emphasizes that the qualities, the characteristics of who we are, our values, our beliefs, our thoughts, our dreams, our potential, that's what matters. And the time is now to create. The song, The Spark of Creation, ends with the words, "The spark of creation, may it burn forever. The spark of creation, I am the keeper of the flame." The purpose of my talk this morning was to remind you that you have this light and to remind you of your brilliance. You and I have the responsibility to nurture it, to fan it, to grow, and not only inspire ourselves, but to inspire others around us. How do we ignite that spark? Well, taking time for yourself and your mind, and as Dr. Kirby talked about, just, breathing, dropping into, it's allowing the synapses of our brain to have a chance to connect and create. For me, I do that through meditation, through taking a walk, to working in the garden. Again, reading about someone or some place that inspires, or doing something kind for someone else. That's what stimulates my mind. Oprah, and the bottom line to all that is just to be open. Be open to opening your mind in that breath. Oprah said, you have to find what sparks a light in you so that you, in your own way, can illuminate the world. Reverend Dr. Thor, he began the month by, you caught that maybe. More on Reverend Dr. Thor in just a bit. But he kicked off the month of Brilliance by challenging us and inviting us to create an intention in our mind. What is it that you want to do? Big or small, it doesn't matter. It could be doing something when you get out of bed in the morning, or it could be doing something grandiose. But he asked us to think about it, state it, claim it, make those steps, and by the end of December, celebrate the success of that creation. I'm here ending the month, reminding you and inviting you to do this. If what you picked 4 weeks ago isn't working for you, okay, fine. Let it go and create something new. But state it and claim it. If it's for those of you who haven't heard it or don't have something, do it now. Create something in your mind that you want to do. And it's so important that we just keep going with that, to keep fanning the flame. In closing, inspiration is a spark. Your brilliance is a spark. It's nothing unless we use it to build a fire. And so, as we leave here today, let's remember that every idea, every thought, every dream that comes up for us, it is our responsibility to fan that, to fuel that, and create a fire. Let's go out this week, this month, this year, and light up the world with our brilliance and our fire. Namaste.